In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to place a lifeline through the 2-stitch decrease, slip 1, knit 2 together, pass slipped stitch over. I have 2 of these decreases worked in my swatch, and if you would like to knit along with me, I have instructions on how to knit this little swatch that I'm demonstrating on in the description below the video. To place a lifeline, you will need your swatch, a tapestry needle, preferably one with a little bent tip just because it makes it easier, but it's not a requirement, and some waste yarn that you can use either a smooth waste yarn, or in this case I've used a knot cord that is nylon that is braided and is very fine. Alternatively, if you're using a non-smooth project yarn, you might want to consider something like dental floss, as it's very easy to remove from your work once you have ripped your stitches back to the lifeline. I have a full video on how to place lifelines in your projects linked in the description below the video, so I will not be demonstrating how to place a lifeline through the standard stitches. I will be demonstrating how to place it through the decrease stitches, and once that's complete, I will rip the work back just to check that everything is sitting on the needle in the correct orientation. I'll demonstrate this 2 times across the row. I'll do the first one slowly and try to do the second one a little bit quicker. Because the first stitch of a slip 1 knit 2 tog pass slip stitch over is slipped knitwise, instead of placing our needle through the leading leg of this stitch, or what appears to be the leading leg, we're actually going to slip it through the back leg of the stitch, so that when we undo our work down to this lifeline, it sits on our needles correctly. Before we move on to the next 2 stitches, I think you'll find it easier to pull that waste yarn through. Next, we have to move this stitch out of the way a little bit so that we can access the 2 stitches behind it that were worked as a K2 tog, or a knit 2 together. We're going to insert our needle from right to left under the right leg of the first stitch and the right leg of the second stitch and pull it through. So now we've placed our lifeline through all 3 stitches that are used in the slip 1, knit 2 together, pass slip stitch over. I'm going to place my lifeline through the next 5 stitches, and I'll show you the process one more time a little more quickly on the second decrease stitch. So we're back to our second decrease stitch again. We're going to insert our needle under the back leg of the stitch because it's slipped knitwise, and pull the waste yarn through. Then we're just going to sort of move that slip stitch out of the way, go through the leg of 1 stitch and 2 stitches of the stitches that were worked as a knit 2 together, and pull it through. And then we can continue placing our waste yarn through to the end of the row, and then we'll come back and rip back our work to make sure that everything is in the right orientation. So now that we've placed our lifeline through all of the stitches across the row where the decreases were worked, we can remove the needle and pull our work back down to the lifeline. Now that we're at the end of the row, we can see we have all 23 of our original stitches on the lifeline. This is the slipped stitch, and it's on the lifeline in the correct orientation. And the 2 adjacent stitches that were worked as the K2 tog are also on the waste yarn in the correct orientation. Happy knitting!